Hi Pine Class, it's time for the second instalment of Shirley Hughes's Wheels. On the afternoon of his birthday, Billy proudly brought his brand new bike to the park. It was orange, with shiny silver handlebars. Everyone gathered round to admire it. Even Orville left his work to come and have a look. "I'll race you," Billy called out to Carlos as he pulled away and glided off down the path. It wasn't much of a race. Billy won easily. Carlos felt silly pedalling furiously behind, crouched over the handlebars of his old bike. His legs felt too long and his knees kept getting in the way. After a while, Billy's mum suggested that Billy should give Carlos a turn on his new bike, which he very kindly did. But when Carlos had swooped down the hill like a bird once or twice, he had to give the beautiful bike back to Billy. In the end, Carlos gave up wanting to race. There was no point. He threw down his old bike by the lake and sat by himself, tossing pebbles into the water. He felt cross with Billy. He even felt cross with the ducks who came swimming over to see if he had any bread. You wait till it's my birthday," he told them. On the evening before his birthday, Carlos kept wondering if Mum had managed to get him a bike. He thought she could have hidden one in the shed behind their block of flats. He even secretly slipped out and tried the shed door, but it was locked. Was there a bike inside? He looked through a crack, but he couldn't see anything. Mum had promised that tomorrow she would bring home a very special cake from the shop. A birthday cake for Carlos. She said that he could ask round Billy for tea, but Carlos didn't want Billy to come to his birthday tea. In bed that night, Carlos was too excited to sleep. He kept imagining getting a new bike, a big bike, a blue and silver bike, a bike that was even better and faster than Billy's, which he could show off in the park. He crept to the window and looked down in the shed. There was a light on in there. He could see it shining up through the skylight in the roof. He watched for a long time. Then he went back to bed. In the morning, Mum gave Carlos a big birthday hug. Marco had gone off early, but he'd left a card on the kitchen table with some bears in a spaceship and "Happy Birthday Carlos" written inside it. There were some parcels on the table too, all wrapped in fancy paper. "Aren't you going to open them?" asked Mum, beaming. Carlos pulled off the papers one by one. There was a jigsaw puzzle, a new jacket in dazzling green and red, just like the ones the big boy bikers wore, and a toy car with a remote control. Carlos had wanted one ever since he'd seen them in a shop, and he was very pleased. But he knew at once that there was no new bike. "Marco's going to give you his present when he comes in at tea time," Mum told him. Carlos knew that Marco's present could not possibly be a new bike. He would not have nearly enough money for that. Inside, Carlos could not help feeling bitterly disappointed. When Mum asked him if he would like to go and play with Billy that morning and show him his new things, Carlos said no. He'd rather go to the shop with Mum. So he took his new car and played with it in the back of the bakery while his mum served the customers. The car went very well. Everyone made a great fuss of Carlos when they heard it was his birthday. One lady bought him a chocolate cream cake and another gave him some money for his piggy bank. When they got home, Mum opened a box and brought out a truly wonderful cake. It was pink and white and covered in icing shells and swirls with silver holders for the candles. There was a plate of fancy pastries too, and ice cream. Carlos ate a lot of everything, but when the time came to light his candles, he missed having Billy to help him blow them out. Then Marco walked in. He got hold of Carlos and swung him round, singing, "Happy birthday to you!" Then he ate a very large slice of cake. "Do you want to find out what I've got for you?" said Marco. "Follow me." Carlos followed Marco downstairs. All the way down, Carlos was wondering what Marco was going to give him. He knew it could not be a bike. So what was it? They walked right past the shed. Then at last, Carlos saw his present. And I'm afraid you'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out what Carlos's present was.